Welcome back to the message recap, where we discuss the message that we had from the previous Sunday. We are in a message series called What Does the Bible Say About?
Yep.
And this week was about racism.
Yep.
I
feel like I'm not sure I have anything to add to the conversation today. I feel like I said
exhausted it.
Everything I needed to say within about the first 3 minutes yesterday.
Yeah.
And then just had to talk for another like 35 to get us to the end of the service.
I have a question for you guys. When, like, the whole message, I just thought, well, duh, obviously. We all know this, But is that true? For me, that's how I just thought. I thought, well, of course it's really, this needs to even be said. God created everybody. Don't we all know that? But where, from a Christian perspective, have we seen in our culture maybe a defense of being racist?
Oh, gosh.
You want to name them?
Go for it.
Westboro Baptist.
Okay. And people like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
All sorts of
and
stuff.
where they get that from is the Old Testament, where, I don't know if you were specific enough in the message, but God did tell them, don't marry anybody outside Israel. And we know the reason. It wasn't a racist motivated. It was his children motivated. But anyway. But when you look at Bible verses like that and don't have a bigger understanding, look at the mistakes that are made all the time of people not understanding what the Bible means. They know what it says, but they don't understand what it means.
When you still think Christianity is tied to the Old Testament, you're going to run into problems. So,
and also, like you said, when you take this little sentence and don't look at what the context is of that little sentence, you're going to run into major problems.
But it happens way too often, and it's just frustrating why people can't understand and read the Bible correctly. It blows my mind. It's one of those frustrating things to me. So I knew a guy one time, probably 15 years ago. He lived in this community, and I was inviting him to church and stuff, and he said, no, I don't. He said, I don't want anything to do with Christianity. And I was shocked. I thought, we must have had a bad experience. But I was in a club or a meeting with him, so I had many opportunities to talk to him. And he's married to a black woman. And he said, they got married 10 years before that, and he said, Christians were against my interracial marriage. Like a black and a white getting married. Christians were against it. And
on what grounds?
On that same grounds. Some Old Testament verses were quoted in the church that these people he knew stood on it, that you are not to intermarry. Reading a verse that has no context of why, what, where, just taking a verse out and standing on it. Nope, the Bible says not to have interracial marriages, and do not marry anybody outside your own race.
Jeez.
So, really, it can be damaging when we use the Bible as a weapon when we don't understand what it even is about. It's terrible.
Yeah,
causes a lot of damage. But really, I thought most of us should know. Duh, the hello.
Just don't do it.
Just don't do it. I don't know. So, I think I mentioned this at the beginning of the message, but I mean, we live in North Branch, right? So, the amount of times that most of us are even faced with this is by far a lot less than other people, even just an hour away from us, sort of thing. Right. But when I think about where does this still exist in Christianity, sort of thing, my mind instantly goes to the South, and like that whole thing. What's the most segregated hour of the week? Well, Sundays at 10 a.m. or what? Just that 1 hour of church, and like, man, how much of that though is just preference, over service styles, and how much of it really is still like undealt with racism, and family lines and what you're taught with. And I don't know. North Branch is a weird area to talk about
It's on my bucket list actually to go south and go to a predominantly black church and just watch it
Remember
go.
when we went down there 10 years ago?
It just looks like it'd be a blast.
We went
know
to
what
a
I mean?
conference in Atlanta, and we went to Southern Baptist.
We went and visited several churches while we were down there for that reason.
Yeah.
I think we were the only white people in the entire place.
Right.
But it was totally different than anything I've ever experienced.
Yeah.
But it was cool.
Yeah.
It was fun.
I think sometimes in our attempts to wipe out racism, we neglect truthful things. We are different. There are many differences in culture. There are many differences in our physical looks even.
And that's okay.
Yeah, that's the point. We don't have to throw that out and say, no, we're just saying, no, we're very different. And it seems like, and not that you can pigeonhole every single person according to the color of their skin, but generally speaking, they have more rhythm. Black churches, there's just rhythm, and they are different, but not in a bad way, not in a separate way.
No.
But just
It's just different.
as a matter of fact,
There's differences between white people. I mean, there's differences between all sorts. And most of it has nothing to do with the color of your skin.
Right.
It's the environment, the culture, the heritage.
yeah.
I don't know. It's frustrating.
So America has always been this melting pot, but I hope the whole world. This is just a personal dream. I don't want the whole world to do that.
you also have a dream?
I have a dream that I've never been to Japan. I'd love to, but when I go to Japan, I want to see Japanese culture and Japanese people living in their traditional way. Now, I know it's more modern than in my head, but I like that difference. I want to go around the world to see the differences. If everybody lives the same, if all cultures are the same, that seems boring to me. It does. I don't want everybody to melt and be together. It's cool that there's differences. It's great. That's why we travel, right? We want to go see different cultures, different places, that they do things different than we do.
Right.
That's cool. I want to see what it is, But as far, which is very clear, as far as God knows, we are all brothers and sisters. We are all unified. These differences are to be noticed. They're to be observed, maybe enjoyed, maybe say, no, that's not for me, or I like that. That's fine. That doesn't mean we don't like each other. Or I love it that you started with the whole definition. One race is not superior to another race.
No.
Period.
Right.
Okay? We just stop there. They're different. We need to do that. They're different. That's
Also,
cool.
one race is not inferior
Right,
to
not
another
at
race.
all.
It
No,
goes the other way
no.
too. Yeah.
How about the fact that any race can further racism and any race can receive racism?
Well, and I just want to say that when
Is this the time for that discussion?
when any culture tries to make rules or laws to make things fair, the minute that law is passed, you are now
It's unfair.
deliberately treating one group better than another. You are. And it's I remember, and I was quite young, this was many, many years ago, I was interested in working for the Forest Service in Montana. And I talked to went to the Forest Service Department, talked to them, and the guy just told me right out, he said, you could never get a job here. And I thought, why? I'm pretty intelligent and I'm capable.
And you know the line of work.
And he just told me right out, he said, we cannot hire another white male for 23 more years. We have to make it fair. Well, when a law makes it fair, you just made it unfair. And so, well, how do you fix that? I don't think you do legislatively. I think you do by just sharing with people the value of other people. And I'm against making laws to make things fair, because you are immediately discriminating against somebody when you do that. A direct discrimination.
So, would you say there is systemic racism in our country today?
There is, but I think it's the opposite
You
of what
think it's
people
different
think
than-
it is.
Yeah.
I think I think the system is more against the white male. That's my opinion, in many, many ways, in the attempts to try to make it fair. But what they are doing is making the system racist against what they feel is a more popular race or more, whatever. But yeah, whenever you make a law, you are now discriminating. In your attempts to help somebody, you are now discriminating somebody else. Not the way to deal with it.
No matter what the heart is behind it.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Went in with good intentions.
The ends don't justify the means.
Right.
Right?
No, you're doing
And the ends are going to be off too.
so many times you're doing the exact thing that you're fighting against. You're doing the exact thing.
That Martin Luther King Jr. guy, he really had some good ideas.
Don't you wish we would actually follow
I
his?
do.
Matter of fact,
When it comes to jobs and colleges and programs and DNR and all that, you know what? We're just going to judge you based off who you are as a human being. Not a white human being, not a Japanese human being, not a black human being, just what is the content of your character.
The quality and content, who you are, what your character is, not your skin color.
Yeah. Gosh. Oh, gosh.
Yeah. But
why?
Yeah, it was a good message. I love this series. Like I said on stage, it's tackling topics that you don't normally hear, and if it is something that's normally in a church service, we're coming at it from other angles. It's really, really cool.
Yeah,
and
I don't think we've ever specifically talked about racism during an entire service.
Right.
Because duh.
Because it takes all of about 23 seconds to cover all of the bases.
So after the first service, he talked to me about, it just seemed, what can I do to, it just seemed long. And then he said, I know, I could say it all in 2 minutes.
Yeah, but then what are we going to do with the rest of the time? So
it doesn't take a long time to say, duh, of course God's not racist.
oh yeah.
Oh, shoot.
All right. Well, can't wait to see what next week's is.
Last week.
Yeah, it is.
Last week
It
of
is.
this series.
I could tell you.
And then we'll get to
can
answering
ya?
all the other ones.
Do
You
we
don't
want
me
it?
to.
Do I know what it is?
I don't know.
Oh. Interesting.
Come next week and find out.
All right. Sounds good. I'll be here.
That's a plan. All right. We'll see you next week.